Music night. We just had the very talented Kevin. He's 13 years old and he's going to the 9th grade, so he's about to become a high schooler. He's a former member of Rising Stars Steel Orchestra, and he was trained by Noah Winter. Some of his favorite artists and bands to emulate are the Beatles and Stevie Wonder. He plays at weddings, he plays for tourists and art exhibits, and he's played with Pressure Bus Pipe. So he is very versatile at his young age. And he will be at the Cultural Extravaganza on the 23rd at Island Center at 6:30. So if you like what you hear, there's more to look forward to, and we're more than excited about seeing your faces at the Cultural Extravaganza. So that is the 23rd at Island Center. Up next we have Mrs. Winifred Oyoko Levitt. Okay. This lady.
Thank you. Okay. Doc has told me that maybe people don't know we started already. Mr. Williams, could you just tell that group that's under there that we started already? Oh, they can't read in here. Okay. Well, it's from 5 to 7 and we don't want to take up too much time. Just wait. Just a general announcement for me, please. I'm thrilled to be here to read to you some of my poems. I'll start out with one and see how things go. Welcome again, everyone. As you know, or may not know, I came to this island in 1972 and had my first public poetry reading in 1973. And I sold tickets for $2 on the corner by Violette's. And I said, come, hear me. And at that time we had a tennis club, and that's where I went, and I decided along the way, why not get some musicians to accompany me and some dancers to interpret the poetry, and it worked its way fine. I had 10 annual poetry readings, and then I decided it's better to use all the media that's already out there. And so now, on Friday, due to the generosity of this guy over here, Doc Peterson, I can read my poetry on the radio and get to thousands instead of just hundreds, mere hundreds. And so, if you're listening on Friday mornings, 97X 970 on your radio dial, AM, Doc Peterson has a show, it's called AM Friday. In other words, it's not Friday until he says so. So, and he's so kind to let me read my poems there. So if you want more of that, you can tune into the radio. Okay. This is a poem that I wrote after a few years of living here, and I just let the island soak in. And I dedicated it to Amarita, Sonia, and Zoraida. We are born into the land where the blood flows free, thick and red beneath the soil, the soul, the burial ground. The anguished writing is on the wall of the auction block, punctuated by the shrill cries of our forebears. The Amina warrior knew, defenseless and brave, where the bodies were trapped in the fetal position. The marking is on the rock. The reef stands guard, persevering, maintaining, and reminding us never to forget. The Kalina and the sons of Ashanti royalty disappeared at the hands of treasure takers. A forest lifts her arm in prayer, pleading our mercies for her life, for the rape that she has witnessed. The bones of our culture connect beneath this earth. They hold us aloft and together squirming above the surface of screams and bizarre death. The memory of this struggle, this treasure, these sweet islands. Charge, Queen Kosiah, kindled Brother Budo, propelled Bottom Belly toward resistance, the legacy of freedom, a pumping in our feet, coursing through our veins like rain, rain, rain in the early morning. And today, the word drums forth from Annaberg's ruins. These graves stand for something grand, our past. Now the sons of Salt River meet the daughters of Bordeaux to revisit Tutu's bones and complete anew the circle we now know as we hunt for the truth and gather the fruit of beauty from our gardens and flowers and markets by the bay. The writing this time is in the walls of our heart in blood and family tree. The carvings set spontaneously sacred in stone, wood, clay, and artist's pen. The tradition of steadfast awareness planted firmly in our smile. We persevere while we preserve this treasure, these memories, this homeland of exquisite shoreline and bright-viewed vistas. For the best of our history is still yet to come. Thank you.
Okay, up next we have Dr. Eugene Peterson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Some time ago, I came across a recording from Miss Marie Richards. Marie Richards was a nurse in Fredericksburg, and she happened to live next to my kindergarten school. And she used to come over and play calypso and calypso music. And she wrote poems, and that's her. She wrote poems, and she would come over to the school, to the kindergarten class, and do her little thing for us. And she made the song. Most of you know it as the donkey song. We knew it as the jackass song. And I like to tell the joke that it was the only time that we could say a bad word in front of the nuns, because when she would say, "What do you want to hear?" and everybody would say, "The jackass song!" And but I heard some of her recordings recently, and it inspired me to write this piece. She had done some stuff on the slave uprising and the subsequent fire burn, and I thought it was kind of cool, and so I put some standard Carizo songs and some standard Calypso songs to tell the story of St. Croix, the early story. I should say before I start that it's not a finished product, because as I wrote it, I thought about more and more things that I could write about, like D. Hamilton Jackson and Wood Harrison and those stalwarts, Crucian cultural icons here in the area. So here we go. This is a narrative using calypso and calypso selections about our emancipation of the slaves of the Danish West Indies and the subsequent fire burn 30 years later. African men, women, and children were captured on the African continent. Some were kings, queens, princes, princesses. Some were warriors. Some were simple members of their various tribes and families. These Africans were packed into tall ships, like sardines in a can, and forced to endure a harsh and cruel journey across the Atlantic to the Caribbean and other parts of the world, where they were sold as slaves. I'm a slave from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. I'm a slave from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. Sunny night, where it was mixed like fire from the white slave master every day down at the beach. Weeks and weeks before we crossed the sea to get to the West Indies. Well, they made me work, oh yes, I work, but Lord, obey. I'm tired and tired and tired and tired, so each day I'm dying. I'm dying. In the late 1700s, the United Kingdom and other colonial countries came to the conclusion that they would abolish the transatlantic slave trade in the year 1802. And so it came to pass. However, those that were already slaves and their children remained in human bondage, no more than property to their owners, and continued to suffer under the yoke of hard labor and cruel treatment. To maintain the supply of slaves, owners put in place a plan to breed those already in slavery, so that they may continue to produce this valuable venture and commodity. The voices of abolitionists all over the world was taking hold, and eventually a plan was being discussed to allow for the gradual and eventual freedom of all slaves. The plan was that the children of all slaves would be born free. Slaves themselves would be free on a gradual basis until all were free. However, here in St. Croix, the slaves became restless. Once they got in their head that eventually they would be free, they keep pushing for the freedom and agitating for immediate freedom. Many times I wanted to run, but the English slave masters have been there really long. And I know he gonna shoot to kill, oh yeah. So I stay and I pray, but I'm lying still. I study night and day how to break away. I got to make a prayer this day, but every time I think about what I'm letting on, the body does start to shake. In my heart, there was much to say, and I pray that the boss will listen to me someday. Although he knew that my request was small, he was a sting of the whip there to answer me when I called. We had to chant and sing to express our feeling to that wicked and cruel man. It was the only medicine that would make him listen and his soul. Calypso began. Like I said, the slaves in St. Croix, they could not wait. We want freedom, we want immediate freedom. And they would pass codes, messages among themselves in songs while they developed their whole action plan. Yes, I mean, I want to master and war, your kingdom come. This is time must have done. Before the man we walk into heaven, we don't go for freedom. So on July 2nd, 1848, the plan was put into place with Budo, Moses Godley, and Martin King as the planners and leaders of the slave had secretly entered the battery in Fort Frederick. Right on that Fredericksburg. Right in Fredericksburg. They entered the fort and they either stole or made the government useless by letting it down. And in the wee hours of the morning, all the slaves from the neighboring estates from Fredericksburg began to converge in the area of the fort in Fredericksburg. They made a peaceful march from estate like Grange, Wheeler, Fortune, estate Williams, Mars Hill, estate White Lady, estate Butler's Bay, Annalee, Mount Washington. They came all down to Frederick, and here they come. By the afternoon of July 3rd, 1848,000 of slaves gathered outside the fort, out of Fort Frederick, and demanded that Governor General Peter Van Schulten come to the fort and address them, and we want you to write down our freedom. Lady Road, I Lady Road, Lady Road, and slave them pass, we going for our freedom, going for our freedom. Hardship in a morning and suffering at night. Never, never help us with the golden fatherland. Oh, they bring me up from Africa, that's we born in land. Bring we are in slavery in the land of Santa Cruz. Oh, Lady Road, I Lady Road. Lady Road, let's slave them past, we're going for our freedom. We don't want no bloodshed, no, not about bloodshed. All we want is freedom, just give me our freedom. Let me go to town, let me go with the general. He gon' give me freedom, he gon' give me our freedom. Lady Road, I Lady Road. Lady Road, let me say them pass, we going for our freedom. Governor Von Schulten, that Governor fresh I hear my daily crap and we write down our freedom. Upon the declaration by Governor Van Schulten that all are free in the Danish West Indies from this day on are free, the slaves began to rejoice and began plundering and cause havoc in some of their estates. It took several days to calm them down with the help of General Woodruff and Martin King. But the celebration was short-lived. Time has changed in so many ways, till one day somebody said freedom, bloody slave. I was there, put out on the street. I got no clothes, I got no food, got no place to sleep. I got no education, no particular ambition. This kind of country pain. Oh Lord, I want to be free. With emancipation of the slave in the Danish West Indies, and elsewhere came the hardship of contract work and indentured servants. The colonial laws of 1849 of the day was not much better than slavery. Many workers were disgruntled and started once again to demand changes so that their life could be improved. Some 30 years later after emancipation, the situation got desperate and the clamor for change was so great that in October of 1878, violence erupted in what was referred to as the fire bomb, which took place on the island of Croix. We made David Thomas, Jonathan Josiah Abraham, Agnes Axelina Solomon, Martin Matilda McBean, Susanna Abramson, they all went to burn down the island. The plan was to burn down West End, come all the way to Boston. No one to help them, not in like 1848 where we had Bolo and we had some leadership. No help, no leadership. In 1848, there was leadership under Godot and Martin. But in 78, it was different. We took it in their hands, these ladies. This is the story. We made it girl. We have this. Josiah Adams, Martin McBean, Ida Abrahamson. They're not the leaders again. Jonathan Josiah. What you do? What you do? What happened? Don't ask me nothing. Don't ask me nothing. We don't burn down West End to the ground. Then we go straight to Barlington. Laram, Bella England, where you going? Since last year October, the island in Alaram. Governor Ghana said, Mashallah. Martin said, shoot them at the boat. Captain Mark said, no, not at all. Then they would have to need to burn down the island. Laram, Bella England, where you going? Since last year October, the island in Alaram. Governor Ghana said, Mashallah. Bella said, shoot them and you go. Captain Mark said, no, not at all. Then they would have no need to burn down the island. They hit a wide blow for themselves. They burn down La Grange. They burn down West End as they pass. They burn down 50% of Fredericksburg. They march straight on and under this alliance. Until they pass and address. Estate Wim, right? That's what we did. Burn down Estate Diamond. And we burn, pass over love, pass Estate Bentley and reach Lorraine. We bury, where you go? We are going to teach the oppressor what he do wrong. We bury, where you going? We are going to teach the oppressor what he do wrong. They pass Lorraine. Some swing to the north to burn Esperance, Montbijou, Estate Wim. Some went east to get to Baron Spot Time and Louis Castle, Oakland, Dita Rest. Down the road, take the west until they reach Anna's home. Over 50 estates they burn as they go. That was there. That was where they meet up with Gendarme then. Gendarme then fire shot. Shoot them down as they go. Laram, Bella England, where you going? Since last year October, the island in Alaram. Governor Ghana said, Mashallah. Bella said, shoot them and you go. Captain Mark said, no, not at all. Then they would have to eat up on Maui Island. We marry, where you going, boy? We marry, oh darling, where you going, boy? Don't ask me nothing, darling, just give me my time, I'll show you. Send jail houses, daily money. Don't ask me nothing, darling, just give me my time, trash. Send jail houses, daily money. We marry, oh mama, where you go and born, we marry, I say where you go and born, we gon' born, dumb bars, and we gon' born and done, and we don't stop till we reach factory and born and we gon' born, dumb bars, and we gon' born and done, and we don't stop till we reach factory and born and many were killed by the military and the gendarmes. Some of the leaders of the fire band was captured and jailed. Over 100 black inhabitants were tried and executed immediately by fire squads, and others were tried and sentenced to execution. Still a few others, including Queen Mary, Queen Matilda, was sent to Denmark for trial and jailed there for several years. Then they were returned to St. Croix after serving for a few years. The 1890 census had Queen Mary and I believe some of the other queens jailed the residents in Frederiksted Fort. Some claim she was later deported, and some claim she met her death out to sea, where she was thrown overboard. No one knows. No one knows what happened to them. All I know is any time between October 1st and October 10th or so, around midnight, at several locations here in St. Croix, William Delight, Lorraine, Baron Spot, Anna's Hope, and other places, when you're going to quiet at the night, around midnight, you know, you're going to quiet at the night, and you shout, we marry. Where you go and born? We marry. Where you go and born? You will hear in the distance a cooing sound. Don't ask me nothing, darling. Just give me the back and flash. My angel house is there, we go and born. Don't ask me nothing, darling. Just give me the back and flash. But angel house is there, we go and born. Go on, go on, go on. Thank you.
That was really amazing. Not only was it very informative, but it was quite entertaining. So we expect nothing less from Doc. Up next, we have a well-loved art teacher and very talented person. She loves art and poetry, and she's going to share some of that with us. We have Blanca Pinkston.
been an immigrant to St. Croix since 1975, on and off, in and out, up and down, go east, go west. But I decided to stay. Of course, I'm not. Hello? Yes. I'm an art teacher for at least 40 years, and my whole life I've been involved with children. I have two of my own who are young men now, and you know, I've been inspired by what they do, and I've also, like you, who have children or who teach. I see some teachers here. You know, your whole life is devoted to children. And no matter how well they're doing, you still have that little fear behind your head, are they going to make it? You know? And, you know, I still remember the poet Rimbaud. Any of you know the French poet? He said, "Your children are not your children. They are part of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you." And knowing that, that is the comfort that I seek sometimes when I worry about my kids, or my young men, I should say. We see them as you know, flowers. They are our seeds, and my son in the class, he took a painting class. He came up with this, and I said, that's kind of nice. And then when I realized it, I saw my family in this picture. I'm the seeds, these are my flowers. I have two flowers, and we're in the tropical sun. So almost all the paintings in here relate to tropical life. Because after coming here from New York, with abstract, sensual realism, no, it wasn't realism, it was abstract and sensual. When I came to St. Croix, my style changed, and I became more humanist. And of course, children are always in my pictures, and I try to incorporate the tense fear of the mother. I don't know if you see it in there. Am I going to make it? And yet, she will. I was inspired by, any of you know Opal? Yep. Opal Adisha Palmer. She's a poet, I believe Jamaican, but she had a course here. And my friend Miss Wade and I, we attended, and she had us write something. So immediately my son's painting about the flowers inspired me. And it's good to have inspiration, right guys? Okay. And just simple poem, our children, they all make it through somehow. Those seeds turned flowers that sprouted and grew from yesterday's soil. That through the wet and the dry they survived. The lily, the simple iris, the rose with its threatening thorns, leaning forward, touching others. The proud hibiscus with its petals open wide, seeking the sun, the air, the essences of life. Unfulfilled, expecting changes, dreaming dreams that in osmosis they pass on in sunrise and sunsets. And as time toils on, so does each new generation relives. Thank you. Ms. Loving has graciously asked me to do the next one, and this is one of my favorites because it's a little longer, and it tells me of the struggle that I went through as I moved here to the island. Any of you having that struggle right now? Should I go or should I stay? Okay, well, in case you are, and you all are, because finances, because family pulls and stuff, you know, I got stuck with teaching, so I stayed. And I learned a lot by staying here. As I said, my style changed, my personality changed, and I love myself better than I did when I first came here. This is called Tropical Horizons. Your loins delivered me here from a tumultuous past. My soul, activated in the clear waters, was baptized and dropped on Caribbean sands. Not knowing to remember, lived 3 years on island farms, then swept on wings to a new world where gray metal structures grew roots on the rocks and cows and pastures disappeared. Was lost, found, educated, moved around, looked for love, was thrown, tossed like a broken doll. And within each lonely passage, solitude became my name. Then one October moon, a coercion of heart, conceived the seed to go back to the Caribbean, to gaze at your horizons, to begin a new life. I flew back to you next fall with my child in my arms, not knowing how long, wanting to go, wanting to stay. Your arms strong and friendly, your sounds aquascent and warm smiles won my heart again and again and again. Your trade winds stroked my hair, your mountainous thighs enfolded me. Your earthy arms spring manna, joy, peace. And as I wade in your turquoise waters, as I doze under coconut trees, as I gaze at your azure skies, you return my faith back to me. And my spirit rejoices to always be yours. Even if I have to leave you, it would be for a little while. It would be for a short memory, for I'll daily see in my dreams and in my life your blue horizon line. Before me, even as the sun gently sets on my life. You'll always see this in your dreams, even if you read St. Croix. I hope. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Art has inspired poetry, and poetry has inspired art. So that was a really nice presentation. Up next, we have some music by Kenna Loving with Mario Thomas backing her. She will be performing Everything Must Change.
Good evening, everyone. While Mario gets set up, I'll just say a few words. When Mom asked me to participate in this event, originally it was to provide music. But then later on I said, oh no, they have their usual DJ. And I said, well, I still want to participate. She said, do you want to read some poetry? I said, I have no poetry. She said, well, you can sing. And I thought about the theme, with the current state of affairs. The theme, she said, was freedom. And I thought about that, and I was like, okay, what is freedom? What's freedom to me? Because I've never known anything else. I've never known bondage. I've never known, pain in that sense. Yeah, we've had our hearts broken. Yeah, we've stubbed our toe, but we've never been hindered from being who we are. And I I thought about the people who are ignored or passed by on the street. And they, the bums, you know, the riffraffs, the ones we don't think about. We forget them. And something, they usually ask, oh, can I have $1? Sometimes they're bold enough to say, you got $10? And one woman, every day, she always asked for the same thing. She said, can you spare some change? Can you spare some change? She never asked for $1, she never asked for 10, she didn't ask for food when I offered. But it made me think, if she's asking for change, there's something deeper than that. They say the more things change, the more they stay the same. Everything must change. And all the hullabaloo, stars going around, we're going around the sun, planets encircling the moon, we're spinning on our axis, the earth is spinning on its axis. The one constant is change. Everything must change. A healing crisis is when things must get worse before they get better. Everything must change. If you want the world to heal, you must first change your mind, change your heart. Everything must change. Sometimes change is bad, but sometimes change can be a good thing. Change as an improvement, as growth. Everything must change. So through all your pain and your anger, your grief, your shock and disbelief, through all your hopes and your desires, be still and know everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everyone will change. No one stays the same. The young become the old, and mysteries do unfold. 'Cause that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except the rain falls from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, hummingbirds do fly. Winter turns to spring. A wounded heart will heal, but never much too soon. Yes, everything must change. The young become the old, and mysteries unfold. 'cause that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except the rain falls from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, hummingbirds do fly. Sing with me. Rain falls from the sky, sun lights up the sky, hummingbirds do fly. The rain falls from the sky, sun lights up the sky, hummingbirds do fly. Rain, sun, hummingbirds, what do they do? Fly. The rain, sky, yes, hummingbirds. Rain falls from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, music, sweet music, makes me cry. Everything must Thank you so much, Maya. I asked him yesterday, and he didn't hesitate. With all my heart. Thank you, and thank you.
When Kema is not wowing the crowd, she's a guidance counselor at Elena Christian Junior High School. She, of course, enjoys singing, she loves jazz, and she plays music. She's usually at weddings and parties DJing and, again, wowing the crowd. So, thank you for that. So with the theme tonight being freedom, I wanted to read one of my favorite poems. I'm a bit of a dreamer, so I tend to not let anything stop me from dreaming, even when it seems kind of impossible. So I'm going to read Dreams by Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. That's it. It's a short one. Up next, we have the talented Kevin Williams. I introduced him earlier. He's a talented 13-year-old, and he's going to show us a little bit of his steel pan. Kevin is definitely not afraid to go on by. Okay.
Family's here, his dad.
Kevin's parents.
Yes.
I've noticed a common trend amongst our performers tonight, and that's that they are mostly educators. So that makes the children of the Virgin Islands very lucky. Up next we have Liz Popo, hailing from Central High School.
And company.
Good evening, everyone. I am Lisette Llanos Popo, and this is my daughter, Talia Ariela Popo. And with me, I have my family, my sisters, Laura and Terry, my niece, Cassie, and my sons, Israel and Caleb. And I saw Winnie, I don't know, a month or so ago in May, and she asked me to swing by and share. So I share with you a poem that I wrote my first year at Spelman. I was missing home, something terrible. And this is the first time that I've read it out loud to anyone, so to a room full of family. I say, teach me by way of recollection the ways of yesteryear. I will consume them and make them my own. Teach me in your unique Crucian talk, the dialogue of yesteryear, though strange to the tongue it will be vocalized. Teach me with your skilled hands the recipes for a belly full of local food. Distinct spices and ingredients make cabinet now full. Teach me by way of recollection the history of long ago. It will be devoured, understood, and passed on. Teach me through tales of Brunansi and Rutukuma, the Anansi stories that you told your children. And those same folk tales will be the ones for I to tell mine. Teach me through your eyes the reasons for your ever-changing temperament. Your tears and laughter for joy and pain are now mine. Teach me. And that one was published in the 1992 Focus, which was issued by Spelman every year and still is issued by Spelman every year, my alma mater in Atlanta. And another I wrote specific for this evening. Come home to Mespel, Kenneth and Jojo. Go Bayside to see Market, Pendi and Panchi. Savor the flavors of fish and fungi, gooseberry stew and callaloo. Come home to the memories of Mali and Delta, to the stories of Auntie Janice and the clarion call of Junie Bomba's conch shell. Come home to a journey of life and struggle, and burning and cutting, a love story of strength and courage and resilience. Come home to St. Croix.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Liz. We have another piece by Miss Loving.
I already read, and I don't want to be greedy, but I just noticed that Luella Smith Rabsat put this online on Facebook, and I said, you should have stayed and read that poem. And she said, would you do it for me? And since I said yes, I cannot tell a lie. It's awesome. It's just, I think what happens to you when you're flying in to St. Croix and you've been away, and when you see the Frederiksted Pier and something in you goes, and the people beside you went, oh, I'm almost home, oh my God, I can see. And I don't know if it's happened to you, it happens to me every time. Just coming back here is such an enticing feeling to enjoy time and time again, no matter how far you go. And so her poem is No Matter How. No matter how many years, no matter how many lives lost, no matter how ridiculous the politics, No matter how many new or old buildings, no matter how the Crucian cuisine keeps changing, no matter how many memories, how many photos, no matter how many miles to travel to get there, St. Croix is my home, my heart, and will always be. The miles apart never dims. No matter what occurs on the 84 square miles of green, lush land, I can travel her roads and byways and never get lost. I know it's home when I hear my name called. No matter how old I get or how many years between, the people, the culture, the friendship, the dialect, the food, the flora and fauna, the simple things in life keep me bonded to home. Luella Smith Rapsat. I'm honored to
be. Up next, we have a very famous soldier turned writer who everybody should know. He hails from Calhoun, and he has written 24 books. He's a established poet, author, historian, and lecturer. Please welcome Mr. Richard A. Schroeder, Sr. I think that accent became a little more crucial than I
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's certainly a pleasure to be here. I'd like to start off with Boro. July 3rd, 1848 will long be remembered as the day when Crucian slaves a measure of freedom from Denmark won. King Christian the Free, freeing Picnic before Daddy and Mommy, cast tempers to boil like a pot of fungi. The people passed the word along the grapevine. Rebellion was ripe. Explosion could come anytime. They stormed into Fredericksburg in droves with raised cane bills and mean-looking torches. The cry was loud and clear. If by sundown are we freedom to come, we're sent down to the ground beyond. He rode a white stallion, borrowed the star, commanding his people like a general in war. He told them to avoid bloodshed. Waiting for Van Cholten was best, he said. The man was confident his people would be free. He had that great influence in the territory. Now enter Van Cholten with speech in hand, moving swiftly to read the proclamation. And when it was over, they were dancing, in the street. The people had finally gained the liberty, and it tasted very sweet. So today, we have good reason to celebrate that happy day in Fredericksburg, July 3rd, 1848. Thank you. Please. Freedom in Fredericksburg. Come on, you people from these once Danish isles, come celebrate that happy day of long ago in Fredericksburg. Blow the conch shells, ring the bell, to the whole world the story tell, when Crucian slaves free themselves in Fredericksburg. Bold defiant, 8,000 strong, they march to the town, shouting, today, today, our freedom must come. Blow the conch shell, ring the bell, to the whole world the story tell, when Crucian slaves free themselves in Frederickstead. 12 more years, said the king, and you will all be free. But first, children, then mother and father, I'm trying my best, you see. I can't go any faster. He must be crazy, cried the people. How could Picnic ever be freed before the mommy and the daddy? Blow the conch shell, ring the bell. To the whole world, the story tell. When Crucian slaves free themselves in Frederickstead. To General Bono, Moses Roberts, and Admiral King, we give endless praise, but we must never forget Queen Agnes, Queen Mary, and Bottom Belly. I said, blow the conch shell, ring the bell, to the whole world the story tell. When Crucian slaves free themselves in Frederickstead. Blow the conch shell, ring the bell, to the whole world the story tell. When Crucian slaves free themselves in Frederickstead. I'd like to close with this number. I just don't know. Weren't we, you and I, snatched like a bird from its nest, packed like sardines into the belly of a ship, you breathing my feces, I lying in your blood, and that tortuous journey across the sea? Weren't we, you and I, sold on the block like cattle to this highest bidder? Didn't we, you and I, yoke like oxen under the heavy hand of the whip, labor in cotton and sugarcane fields from sunup to sundown? Didn't we, you and I, our spirits sore, our skin torn, eyes red and swollen from tears, cry out to the same God, pleading with him not to forsake his own children? So, tell me, oh please tell me, why are we killing one another? Thank you.
Thank you. So this segment is open mic. So I'm going to do one other piece by Langston Hughes before we have Zach up again. And then, so if you want to share anything, this is the time to prepare your pieces. Okay, so this one again, Dreams, right? Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? Okay, so that was it. So, don't be shy. We look forward to hearing from a lot of you.
You know, I went to a session of planning, and they said even if you don't know any poems and you know a song, you can come and recite it. A lot of times it's very confusing. But I want to continue with my tribute to Miss Marie Richards. I left my book home, so I'm going to try to do some of my memory. And I just recently learned them, so I have to put it a little bit. But she liked to sing about food. Right down my alley. And she liked to sing about animals. Right down my alley. Because that's why I love the song. If you want want to learn to cook, get a pencil and a book. If you want to cook my pay, listen to what I'm going to say. My pay, he got this stuff. Eat everything and not enough. Me not care what the people say. I cruise and love my book, my pay. Me not care what the people say. I cruise and love my book, my pay. You got need a Welshman fish, chop up tomato if you wish. Big tail snout and big head too. Ham or ham skin, that they will do. My belly got this stuff. Eat everything and not enough. Me not care what the people say. Man, I cruise and love a good my friend. One of the things about living in St. Croix and the Highlands is that you don't necessarily have to go to the grocery to get food. As my tenants here, Amy and Matt will tell you, every now and then I come home and I got a big crab in my hand. I say, let's get you and then I try to plant little tomatoes and things like that, right? And the weed then coming up. Healthy, the tomato them dying, but the weed then coming up. And when I look closely, the weed is bata, parsley, white Mary. People like the beans and rice. I like that dishes too. But there's no other dish so nice like the food and callaloo. It is good, we all like it. Babies like it too. I said we eat every bit and they keep us fit. That's me food and callaloo. And then it had more to it, but I just don't know. And then it had crab and rice, crab and rice. Crab and rice, get your share. Big fat crabs everywhere. Pandush of Haddon, how they too. Get your crab and rice today. Crab and rice, crab and rice. Crab and rice, get your share. And big fat crabs everywhere. You could catch them with Haddon or Pandush too. Cook your crab and rice today. Of course, she has some others too. I don't learn that she got one with fish and Fiji. And I think she had another one. She also sings about animals. Those I know a little bit more, so I'll do a couple of them for you. As I told you before, one of the things that we like as kindergarten, and I see a couple of Catholic school people here, but I was hoping that people like Rosie Mackay and Jerry Gowan, and then one of the kindergarten classmates would be here to celebrate Marie, because she was so nice. She would come over and she would sing. She would sing for us at kindergarten. I could see the nuns then, you know, they had tiles. They had tiles in the yard, and they were lined up, so everybody had their own tile, and different color tile. And our kids, because you know kids, well, you guys are teachers, you know kids don't sit still. And then those of you that are still teaching, this is a good way to keep your kids lined up. Put tile and then stand on the tile. And she would make us stand on the tile and then come over and say, what do you want to hear? And we'll say, the jackass song, the jackass. I don't tell you donkey, donkey, I say, don't tell you donkey, donkey. Donkey, donkey, give me grass, don't tell you donkey, donkey. Donkey wouldn't let me pass. Donkey is a public ass. I told you so from yesterday. Don't tie that donkey, donkey. You hear them how I say, don't tie that donkey, donkey. What you said, you wicked? Don't tie that donkey, donkey. Donkey eat up the give grass. Hey, donkey wouldn't let me pass. I say I told you so from yesterday. Don't tie that donkey, donkey. Slide mongoose, dogs know your name. Slide mongoose, hold up for your head, got no shame. I said the mongoose went in the baby kitchen and take out half a sheep, big fat chicken, put it into his breast pocket. Slide mongoose, dogs know your name. Slide mongoose, hold up on the way, got no shit. I said mongoose went in the lady kitchen and take off half a sheep, big fat chicken. Put big thing to his breast, go pocket, slide mongoose. Jackass jump up and breathe, let him breathe, let him breathe. I said jackass jump up and breathe, let him breathe, let him breathe. Hold on back, the jackass jump up and breathe, let him breathe, let him breathe. I said jackass jump up and breathe, let him breathe, let him breathe. Don't tell your donkey, say, don't tell your jackass donkey. The donkey eat up the grass, don't tell your donkey. Donkey eat up the grass, hey donkey, what let me pass? I told you so from yesterday, don't tell your donkey. Hold him Joe, hold him Joe, hold him Joe, and don't let him go. Hold him Joe, hold him Joe, hold him Joe, and don't let him go. The donkey won't walk that, hold him Joe. 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 Hold him Joe, hold him Joe, hold him Joe, and don't let him go. Hold him Joe, hold him Joe, hold him Joe, and don't let him go. Chimba, that donkey won't walk that. Big donkey won't walk that. Donkey won't walk that. Walking donkey, running donkey, big, pop, donkey, 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 Kevin is a fantastic speaker player. I don't know how to do it. Is volume down? Yeah, maybe he turned the volume on. Or maybe my battery ran out. But anyway. But I want Kevin, come back with me. When we were warming up earlier, I heard Kevin play a song, and it's a song that I play. And the happy song we played in the same key. Want another? No, I don't like to make music. Just follow me. you think it's hot, wait until you hear with the Tennessee Best Night next Saturday night, and I said Kevin is going to be featured with the Tennessee Best Nights. We had a big cultural show there. We got Mokajumbi, masqueraders, singers, people players, everything. Kevin. All right, thank you very much.
Again, we look forward to seeing all of you and your friends and family members on July 23rd at Island Center. The cultural extravaganza starts at 6:30, and there's at Island Center. Now, this is open right now, so don't be shy. Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. In 1976, I was inspired by my friend, wrote a book of poetry, had a reading, and that was my college money when I went away to Malwa for one semester, like books, you know, a little bit of money. But I feel led tonight to read not one of my own, because I haven't written in years to share. But in light of all that's happening in our world and in St. Croix, just this week I had to comfort two mothers whose sons were taken from them. And this is a poem for St. Croix. Maya Angelou, 1928 to 2014, one of all of our favorites, Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with bitter, bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with me? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. The oil wells in Provenza. What is it called now? Aqua? Just like the moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weaken my soulful cries? Does my heartiness offend you? Don't take it awful hard, cause I laugh like I've got mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You all know what cut eye is, right? You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds meeting between my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise. St. Croix, rise.
I get permission from my mama to read her stuff. There's a poem in here that I remember reading when I could first read, and I remember it vividly. I was 4? I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I remember this poem. I learned how to read by reading this poem. And I couldn't envision it then, because they were just words. But every year I look at them, look at these words, and I feel them. I can feel myself there. When my dad passed, we got a few of his trinkets, and so I had gotten like a mace. Anybody know what a mace is? It's like an iron spiked ball on a chain, on a stick, and it was used as a weapon. I got that, and I also got some branding irons that one was with a K and an R, and I'm like, who's going to be branded? I'm thinking cattle. And I got a ring of these keys, these huge iron keys. And every time I look at these artifacts, and I know they came from the slave castles. And that's the name of Mom's poem that I remember. And it's called The Slave Castles. No matter how I try to forget, to blot it out, to scrub my memory clean of those images, it keeps coming back. The haunting scenes from the slave castles. Come with me now and be a witness to horror. Enter with caution the slave castles. There's money to be made off black backs. Let's dig up our ancestry and cringe and cry together, for our fates were sealed. Oppressive regimes, plantation-bound, master and slave, power needing servitude. You can actually hear the slaves clamoring in confusion, bewilderment, rage. See them, see us, suffocating, driven like herds of so many black, pounding, thunderous cattle from the villages to those castles, and then out to sea. Picture the fiendish delight, the plots, the plans, international intrigue, the hankering, clever, greedy, ravaging wolfishness of the bleached beasts and their hosts of devils, brutalizing by the millions for centuries our forefathers. Envision our Africa, now sucked dry, in turmoil, hunted, in pain, devastated, her children spread all over the world, from Boston to Barbados, Canada to Curacao, Trinidad to Tallahassee, Nova Scotia to Nevis. The slave castles are yet equipped with the huge cannons that the European erected to protect his booty of black flesh. Visions of adult males preferred. Walk down the narrow claustrophobic corridors, down in the dreaded dungeons, hear the people howling in confusion, groveling in the mud, digging with bloody fingers at the concrete slab walls, clamoring to escape. Smell the fevered rage of the death stench as souls would die, rot, and decay. The remains in the rubble would be shoveled away when the merchants of our soul paid a visit to the holes, where we waited, immobilized, to make that journey westward, chained forever to each other, plundered, starved, beaten, broke asunder. This vast commercial enterprise featured torture devices pathological in nature, castrating our young boys, gang raping the young girls. Diseased and disoriented, we tried to escape. The hate was too great. Gold, ivory, and slaves were key commodities. Smell the raw blood coating thick the dungeon floors where spirited warriors were kept, until they submitted to the prongs and lashings, or, if too stubborn, were hanged by the testicles until their eyes fell out. An example to future warriors. Those slave castles dotting the African coastline represent untold indignities. Portuguese built, British maintained, French, Dutch, Spanish, Danish too. Picked our flesh from their teeth while farting bombs of greedy satisfaction in the streaked faces of our scrambling, swollen, welted grandmothers packed like worms outside the governor's chambers, urinating pools of blood, chewing to cut the umbilical cords of sons and daughters never to be free. And so with that, let me brighten the mood. I gotta brighten the mood. Here's a cute one. This is a cute one. Okay, hold on. This is called Slices of Life. And I remember this too when I was very young. Incubator beauty, 3-pound miracle, tenderest branch on my fertility tree. Wrinkly knees, tiny waving fists, my puny delight, perfect in every dimension. Sticky fingers, peanut butter breath kisses, Pampers and Vicks, and powder in the creases. Sore gums, toothless juicy grins, pierced ears, and very piercing eyes. Playing in the toilet while mommy's on the phone, soft, silken, chubby feet propelled by speedy red sneakers. Reprimanding your dolls, reminding mommy to say the grace. Murmuring, God bless you, when she sneezes. Spontaneously bringing me sheer joy, just being your sweet, easy self, little lady, goddess friend. How could I have ever wanted a boy? And that poem was about me.
I'm Naima K. Wade. I'm a teacher at CTEC. And who recognized me as a poet in 1974 was a poet named Senya Darklight. And we used to do readings. He traveled all across, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I wanted to do homage for Senya. I feel his spirit. He's no longer on this plane. He won all kind of awards and traveled. But this is one of Senya's poems. And if you feel like you want to close your eyes, do that. Because I use this poem in my classes when students are when they're not watching their words, when they're not watching their actions, when they are not in control of their thoughts, and when they're not in control, they don't know who their character is, and they need love, and they're not watching their heart. Within, there is light. See it within. Within, there is sound. You hear it coming and going, yet it is always here, flowing in an endless stream, the reality of your life's dream. On the mountain of peace, the doves of love are at rest. Worlds within each other, like bubbles within bubbles. within love. And when I do that poem, as a language teacher, I have taught students from around the world to take from looking at the eyes, as we always looking at our eyes, to go within, and where that race consciousness always gives us delusions, and we don't understand that there is not that much separation. And this is another one of Sandra's poems that I read all the time, that I remember. And it's a little bit of a test for you. Senya says, are we alone, or are we all one? One of the most powerful words in the English language is the compound word. Which of those is the compound word? All one. Are we alone, or are we all one? Thank you.
Almost 7 o'clock. It is 7 o'clock. So if there isn't anybody else who would like to share anything with us, we have Sonia. She will close off our wonderful music and poetry night.
Give that round of applause for all the poets, musicians, who have really. Thank you so much, and to Oyoko for putting it all together. Thank you so much. I had a bit of a surprise when I went to look at the exhibits. I knew that I had forgotten to mention one. If you weren't here earlier, I mentioned 2 exhibits. The descendants of John Charles and Sarah Thompson have an exhibit up about their family and the accomplishments and contributions that they have made. And then our students, our junior preservationists, who are part of the UNESCO Transatlantic Slave Trade Project, traveled to Denmark earlier this year, and as we were planning for their travel, we asked them if when they came back, they would do an exhibit for us. If you have not seen that exhibit, please don't leave here without seeing it. And I promise you, you will be back again and again to take that exhibit in, because it is that powerful. These are 2 junior high students, and the others are high school students. Only one was a senior. So they're all 9th grade, 8th grade to 11th grade. And they have just done an amazing job. I had forgotten to mention an exhibit that opened earlier this year. It's called Venus Johannes, an African Venus on St. Croix. And Venus Johannes is a woman who was born in Senegal, enslaved on Goree Island, left Africa as a free woman because she was married to a ship captain who declared his love for her, and then enslaved on St. Croix. So you have to see her exhibit. Winnie Hardy did an amazing job with that, telling that story. And then what surprised me, I kind of knew it was coming, but I didn't realize they had really pulled it off. Carol Wakefield, one of our volunteers, one of our core volunteers, has put together an exhibit that is a set of collages of photographs by Mr. Cliff Maroney. Met Mr. Maroney just a few weeks ago, and he wasn't sure what to do with his photographs. So we started talking, and he and Carol talked. And so there's an exhibit of his photos. These are photos taken on St. Croix in the 1970s and 80s. So I saw a lot of my contemporaries and other people who were teenagers when I was, and there are others who we don't recognize, so you may recognize some of them, and we want to know who's in the photos. So the exhibit halls are still open, But of course, we're going to be here all week except for Saturday, when we're holding hands with John Peterson and going to Island Center for the Performing Arts. But do come again and again and see what you can. I mean, these exhibits are just, they're worth seeing time and again. So I just want to thank you for being here today. This has been such a good experience for us. I hope it's been a good experience for you. We have many challenges in our community, but when we can see the very youngest join in to the elders, and come in together to create beauty, then we know that all is not lost. And we just need to remind ourselves of that. There is a lot of pain, there are a lot of tragedies, but there is so much goodness that we need to hold on to and spread and share that word with each other so we can remind each other. So again, I just want to say thank you and get home safely, and we'll see you again tomorrow, not the next day or the next day or the next day. Because come home to St. Croix couldn't fit in a regular week, so we made it an 8-day week. So thank you.
Don't forget to come out next week to Island Center for the cultural extravaganza. And thank you for being such a great crowd.